Yeah, the EMT test was really interesting.
It's important for a patient to see the same doctor over an extended period of time instead of going to different specialists. That way that one doctor gets to know the patient better and will better know if the patient has perhaps a hidden problem or a problem that wouldn't be evident on just one visit. Excellent help.
Okay, can I say yours now?
Oh, yeah.
It happened the morning of Grandma's Marathon, June 21st, 1986. It was a misty morning when the race started. Just 10 minutes before the start of the race, Erin Seitz and her dad Jim were working on this stretch of Highway 61 at an aid station about 8 miles into the race course. Erin then went to cross Highway 61, but she was hit by a van that the jury ruled never should have been on a closed race course.
And she just didn't have a chance.
Jim Seitz says he remembers hearing Erin, then 8 years old, scream.
Yes, and I went to her and recognized the seriousness of the injury right away. But we were so far out of town. Now this is almost 18 miles from Duluth, and just trying to get somebody to have the presence of mind to call an ambulance.
Since then, the road to recovery for Erin has been a long one. Medical bills soared to more than $38,000. Erin realized her right leg would never be the same. After more than 6 years in the courts, last night, a jury at the St. Louis County Courthouse awarded Erin nearly $700,000 for medical bills and both past and future suffering.
We persuaded the jury that this was an accident that could have been and should have been avoided had everybody who was responsible for her safety been doing what they should have done.
But Erin's father says all the money in the world can't heal his daughter's leg.
You know, how do you feel? It can't ever fix Erin. No amount of money could ever repair the damage. So.
Meanwhile, Erin, now 17, is a senior at Duluth East High School. She's looking forward to college and possibly a career in physical therapy. In Duluth, Bill Lunn, Channel 6 News.
What does the mayor have to say?
The usual.
Yeah.
Find breast cancer at the most curable stage. I would like to add that the patients who come to my office that already have cancer usually ask me, is there anything I can do now, doctor? And the answers at that time are few. If you ask yourself that question now, the answer is yes. There is something you can do. Have a mammography done, and have it done yearly or every 2 years according to the way your doctor tells you. In this way, you can do the most for your breast cancer, not the least.
I am both proud and humble that the board and administration felt I had the qualities for these leadership.
Pardon me, Kay. Larry was talking about state funding, and I was doing
with the reduced staffing. So again, it's an area that we have to continually scrutinize. I guess I'll say something that seems to apply nationally as well as locally.
Density, the maximum potential. Today, your Planning Commission reviewed a proposal to recommend a zoning change for an expansion of the Miller Hill Mall by the property owner, Simon Property. After considerable discussion, the vote of the Planning Commission was 5-5. Which means that the commission is not recommending that change to you.
of his life, but he wasn't afraid of it.
So, yes, courts are changing. On our district courts, we now have over 50 women. All but one district has a woman judge now. We have one district still, the smallest district in the state still does not have a woman judge. And we have numerous minorities.
Each of you view judicial activism, if you're willing to answer that.
You a judicial activist or?
No. What role does politics have in your decision making?
I am the newest member of the court.
Okay.
Pick it up.
We did find that with this morning's and afternoon's experience that we made a few changes, moved a couple of the spaces around, and believe we're ready for a permanent implementation.
I saw this pickup back it up, and I thought, gee, back it up, and that doesn't look right. But I was parked over there at that time, waiting for him. Then I took a better look at it. Nobody was driving it. And then I just watched it bounce down the curb, over the curb, up the curb, and it disappeared. Just disappeared.
That's how we watch it. We see the water surging in the room. Because we actually, when people call us up and do most people are records.
Oh yeah, you don't want to let your kids go out playing on the beach. Waves are neat. We enjoy the big waves here. It gives us a chance to run our motor lifeboat in them. But people have to respect the Lake Superior, and we're real fortunate in the Duluth area, and most of the people in Lake Superior really respect the lake.
Everything worked. I mean, we're so thankful nobody was hurt, that the fire system worked the way it's supposed to work, the alarm went in properly, the water system worked as it did, and it kept it to one room upstairs here.
Week that the U.S. contribution the first year for aid from aid would actually be about 430.
Do you give
That I believe it does include the pilot and co-pilot were American citizens based in Montreal, and crew were on board the flight. And after detailed conversations with American Airlines, we now believe that 48 American citizens were on board the flight. This is not a firm figure. It is possible that this figure could increase. The problem we have in determining an exact number of Americans is that many of the people on the flight were dual nationals. They could have been presenting Colombian passports to American Airlines at Miami. They could be American citizens, so it's possible that number.
That have increased levels that people may be paying. And to me, that's the most important thing that I respond to that, because it's been implied that I'm being less than honest with the people, and that's not true.
He's, of course, very enthusiastic about it. It's down his alley school. He doesn't see any problem at a cost there of $1,137. About $1,000 off of every victim impact panel. Of course, we do have some expenses off of that. The national telemarketing figures are not going to be just tremendous, but if we don't get another dollar.
In October of 1993, then Superior Mayor Herb Berkson signed a proclamation designating daylight trick-or-treating hours on the Sunday before the 31st. The resolution was passed by City Council members again in 1994, but when the resolution was presented at this year's meeting, it was denied by the councilors, returning the city to Halloween night trick-or-treating. They say it was not passed because Halloween should be observed on the date. Now that your kids will be out after dark, here are some safety tips to keep in mind. Make sure your kids have a glow stick or flashlight to light their way. Wear light-colored costumes or use reflective tape on dark costumes. Make mask eye holes large enough for little eyes. Go out trick-or-treating only in groups. Go to houses with the lights on and only accept treats that are pre-wrapped and not homemade. Keeping these safety tips in mind will keep everyone safe on this ghoulish night.
The news release could have been done a little quicker. Is asked, and coming from the FBI is particularly important because I had the opportunity to attend the FBI Academy, and I have worked with the FBI both during my career on the police department when I was, an investigator for most of my career.
Pretty interesting. But they're doing really interesting work here. You've got this little hangar. I realize it. Hope you got some good work. Mainly the wreckage recovery and reconstruction. You may not know, but those of us are all. Go back to. Well, it's quite a thrill, as you can imagine. It's amazing to be in orbit at 200 miles above the Earth and in a velocity of 17,000 miles per hour. And when I break that down, it used to take us 7 minutes to cross from San Francisco to outside of Newfoundland. So we cross the whole United States and Canada in 7 minutes. We'd cross the North Atlantic in about 8 or 9 minutes, 90 minutes around the world, and we'd break it up in those kind of chunks. And it's
A letter from the foundation that they want to make the point that it's so important. And I'll thank again everybody for coming together and do all the work. So, thanks again.
This is
an opportunity for us to be involved in the community. It is an opportunity to help attempt to find some of those children, more importantly, to increase the awareness of the problem.
Last one, all right? Okay.
No, right. Well, we don't even know if he's
I'm Dave Jench. Coming up on the 6 o'clock news, we'll have the latest on an investigation into a school bus accident in Cloquet. Some parents are questioning the district's commitment to child safety. A World War II hero from Duluth talks to children about the importance of Veterans Day. And we'll continue our cruise on a Great Lakes ore boat bound for the steel mills. For these stories and more, join us for tonight's 6 o'clock news.
Christmas City, wonderful city, all dressed up in snow and mistletoe. Christmas City, wonderful city, come this Christmas to the Christmas City I'll go. On a hilltop, spick on an icicle, chew it while you slide the fun below. Down in Midtown, people are icicle, come this Christmas to the Christmas City, let's go. I hear bells ringing, ding dong, ding dong, ding. I hear voices singing, oh, the winter wonderland. Come along, you'll understand. Christmas City, wonderful city, all dressed up in snow and mistletoe. Christmas City, wonderful city, come this Christmas to the Christmas City I'll go.
It's a battle over boundaries for the neighbors in Piedmont Heights. They're concerned on the environmental impact a mall expansion would have, and also for the safety of their children.
I have children who have to get on a school bus. Now, are they going to allow, how are they going to, they haven't made any plans for where the bus is going to turn around, if the bus is going to be able to do that, if my kids are going to have to walk down to the corner to pick up the bus. They haven't answered a lot of questions.
The council may vote to rezone this area, allowing the mall to move as close as 300 feet from some Piedmont Heights homes. These neighbors have been meeting with planning officials, council members, and mall personnel trying to lobby against the mall expansion.
Alan Sobrowski, a registered nurse, runs a cooperative health care agency that provides intensive care in the home. He believes that health care saves a lot of money and is a safe and viable alternative to long, expensive stays in the hospital.
I believe that a locally owned provider of care, such as ourselves, presents competition to the marketplace, which is good and healthy. It keeps all of us on our toes, and it helps drive the cost down.
Like your pulse is reading around 64 and your oxygen level around 92%. Leave that off for just a little bit here.
There are benefits to both. Long-term care certainly has a place, and it's going to remain here because some people cannot be provided for adequately at home. Their needs just are too extensive for home care to really provide for them.
But Sobrowski says whenever it's possible, the patient benefits financially, physically, and emotionally from being in their own home.
But there is that group that, you know, are able to ambulate somewhat at home. Their mind is intact, but maybe they just don't have all the faculties to really be safely alone in the home.
The president is looking to save money, and one way to do this is to bring down the cost of Medicare and Medicaid. That's why he invited Sobrowski and 100 other health care representatives to talk about the issue.
I was invited to Washington to have dinner with the president and to hear his proposal that he's putting to the Congress, and it's the budget battle that's being viewed by all Americans right now.
The president told Sobrowski that he doesn't want to undermine Medicare, but to achieve a balanced budget by the year 2002, there must be a significant change. With the budget war still ahead, Sobrowski says that home health care is a cost-saving alternative that should be considered. Gina Stapleton, Channel 6 News.
Kept the ones informed that were the leading communities, and as we got closer to a decision, it got narrowed down.
It's great that you're involved.
Various loan programs. I would hope that maybe this program could somehow be a bit of a clearinghouse or an information source, so that if you're looking at a certain community or area, you could use this program to find out all of the other types of funding that are available from that location.
Well, number one, priority is safety for the kids. The plan will be safety first, and then whatever we can do to keep school running as smoothly as we can.
Coming down from Cloquet and stuff, and it's like 65 there for a while, and then all of a sudden, no, they're going ch-ch-ch. It's like you're in Minneapolis. I think they should keep it at 65.
about this now. You're the ultimate Packers fan, okay? You're flying home for this game. This must be very frightening. The plane is going down. Did you want to die with your cheese hat on, or what? I mean, were you thinking this will save my life?
You bet.
Really? So, I mean, when you woke up and you're okay, and the cheese head, I mean, was it like, thank you, God, for this cheese head? Was that kind of thing? Could you put it on your head for us to show? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The plane is going down. This brave man. Let me ask you.
The fact is, they don't want you to believe that ethanol is good for Minnesota and that it won't harm small engines. Because if that's what you believe, they know you will use ethanol blended fuels and they will not make as much money. It comes down to that.
Lawmakers from around the state, including Paul Wellstone, Rod Grams, and Hubert Humphrey III, are speaking out on Minnesota's ethanol debate. At issue are ads running that bash the use of ethanol, specifically in small engines. The radio spots are sponsored by Minnesotans for a Fuel Alternative, a lobbying group backed by the Amoco Oil Company. Humphrey says Amoco is trying to scare people away from ethanol. The corn additive fuel is sold year-round in the Twin Cities and in the winter months across the rest of the state. But ethanol opponents are pleading for a consumer choice at the pump.
I really don't like using ethanol because it's less horsepower. You know, for people that buy a more high-performance machine, they want to get everything they can out of it. And with ethanol, it can't perform as well.
That's an opinion not shared by manufacturers of some small engines, including Polaris and Arctic Cat, which now back the use of ethanol in their machines. But Bodine says as much as 50% of his snowmobile service business is linked to fuel problems.
You know, if you had some of the older machines, older lawnmowers and stuff, they weren't made so they could run on it. Yeah, you would cause major engine damage.
In response to negative ethanol ads, Minnesota lawmakers have started a pro-ethanol campaign touching on health, environmental, and economic benefits that ethanol brings to the state, particularly to corn growers. Amoco Company has pushed for Minnesota ethanol laws to be repealed and is expected to do so again in the next legislative session. In Duluth, Ann Carroll, Channel 6 News.
Fires are bad any time of the year, but when there's a wind chill of 60 below or more, the difficulties are increased tenfold. Firefighters were called to battle 2 home fires in Duluth this weekend, working in bone-chilling conditions.
We're in a wet environment, cold weather. The moisture is what freezes, causes frostbite in minutes, and we're out there like the other day for 4 hours.
And another complication of our bitter cold is frozen hydrants. The Duluth Fire Department reports dozens of hydrants have frozen up, causing them to look for alternative water sources to fight fires, a situation that can cause damaging and sometimes deadly delays.
And it doesn't work. Now he's laid out a major portion of his hose. He's in position. He may already have gotten buttoned up into the scene, so oftentimes that means that we need to bring another rig in, which is 3, 4, 8 minutes away.
The shipping industry is seeing problems from the cold, too. The Duluth Seaway Port Authority reports bitter temperatures and strong winds are causing danger for seamen and potential damage to ships encountering early ice. The Sioux Lock shut down this weekend, holding up some 30 ships. The Duluth Steam Plant, which supplies heat for all the major downtown buildings, has problems of its own. The plant manager says coal use is way up, and it's been difficult to feed the furnaces. The coal itself has been freezing in clumps and must be broken up before it can be used. But most of the problems caused by the cold snap aren't quite so serious. Northlanders are used to bundling up for self-protection and braving the elements.
I put on my heaviest shirt and my overcoat and scarf and stocking cap.
Our meteorologists say the end may be in sight. We should be slightly above 0 by tomorrow and maybe even hit the teens by midweek. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, Channel 6 News.
Try to get some of that bread in there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, come closer.
Just trying to get
Good.
pictures of your
Then you
bread
can look at Molly.
Okay. Okay, just let us
I'm
know
set.
when you're ready. Tell us about, you know of the Reach Out for Warmth program. It's a program that entices public and private donations to help with energy assistance programs. Why do you think?
Don't let the arsonists start your house on fire. And by doing that, make sure your doors are locked. Make sure your garage is locked. Your car is locked. Don't give them the opportunity. Don't pile garbage up alongside your house. Don't. It's better than the electronic equipment. And they go up. Yeah.
That was fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. It's up here. They're sponsored by, I don't want to say State Farm, American East. I got other things I got to do, you know. And this dog would have to walk and work every single day I work.
Television screen, it's in the Duluth area. A letter was sent to.
I would like to take a moment to introduce my.
We will not tolerate the abuse of fundamental human rights or decency for any one of our citizens.
Thank you. Is this working? Are we working? Yes. Here we go. Okay. The area that was originally encompassed in tax increment district number 17 is the area surrounded by the brown here, which I'm pointing to here. The area in red here was and
Chapter 2, and it's under the name of council president. The issue that's before you this evening.
This is really a situation where we're going against the current trend of large media mergers, and it's two family publishing companies with strong interest and strong tradition in this region coming together to strengthen and preserve our mission of local community newspapers. And
Well, it is affecting our transportation, and we think that probably packages and letters to or from the East Coast may see some delays later on this week.
And he appeared in a Bemidji courtroom in October.
It does protect the people on disability from discrimination, and that they can, still maintain their jobs and their families and their children while they are trying to get help for.
Tonight, we got some very gifted and talented people to be ministering to us. I know your hearts are going
Pray you dutifully prime your matin shiny
Two different hymns, 112 and 125. Let's stand together as we sing. First one is the first stanza, Joy to the World, and the second one is Angels We Have Heard on High.
The post-Christmas shopping spree is underway and people are crowding the stores to take advantage of once-a-year sales.
I came down so I could do all my Christmas shopping early and get everything at half price, and I won't have to do the rush next year.
The day after Christmas is traditionally the second busiest shopping day of the year, but that doesn't seem to bother die-hard bargain hunters.
Nobody is pushy and shovey and mean. Everybody says excuse me and pardon me as they push you out of the way.
The long lines to exchange gifts don't seem to be a problem either. Shoppers are waiting their turn to take back those gifts that were the wrong size, the wrong color, or just didn't work.
A bunch of clothes that I just didn't like.
Well, he has 2 cars already, so he didn't really like this one. He's bringing it back.
While national holiday sales figures are down, Northland stores are reporting varying degrees of success. Some merchants say shoppers didn't spend as much this year, while others say they had a very successful and busy Christmas season.
It sounded like it probably was a softer Christmas for us. It wouldn't have been as soft if we wouldn't have had the weather hit when it did, but we still were real happy with what we did.
Stores will know exactly how well this Christmas shopping season went in early January. In Duluth, Gina Stapleton, Channel 6 News.
And again, if you're going to get one, do some shopping. Look at the statistics on it and mount it the way that the manufacturer recommends to do that.
How far down the hill from your station is this, Joel?
No more of that stuff. My name is Joe Klein, and I wrote Primary Colors. I did it by myself with no help, no secret sources, and I want to tell you, it was great. It was a lot of fun. In fact, it was the most fun I ever had with a keyboard. I wrote it anonymously for a lot of different reasons. They evolved over time. In the beginning, it was a combination of cowardice and whimsy.
because the building's real old and smoke comes in, and we're not cigarette smokers, and everybody, it just makes us really nervous now.
I guess it's better, a good nervousness.
And the only reason we even decided to even get a carbon monoxide detector was because of the news reports we had seen on TV about, you know, the incidents that have happened recently. And that's the only way we knew anything about it. And that's the only way we knew flu-like symptoms were, would follow carbon monoxide poisoning. Nothing here?
That's nasty thing. After dog. Go ahead and do your bed.
We got a freestyle skier that's coming up right now.
Oh,
my goodness.
Oh. Extreme skiing is what they were out at Spirit Mountain to see. The FX Cable Network decided to come to Duluth to capture what makes the Northland so special.
We're having a great time in Duluth because we're just outdoors all the time. But I have to tell you, this is the coldest weather I've ever been in.
Also with us, we have a local NBC affiliate.
The live field host, Spencer Garbett, has been with FX since May of 1994 when the network began. He says he looks forward to being outdoors and giving people a taste of communities all over the country.
That's kind of one of the nice things about the show, is that we're in a different town for 1 week, you know, as part of the remotes in the show, so that if you're sitting at home, you get to see, you know, oh wow, look at Duluth. You know, if you're sitting in Miami, you know, you see, wow, look, they got all that snow and it's minus 12 degrees.
Did you know that over 200,000 people hit the slopes at Spirit Mountain in Duluth, Minnesota?
FX's Breakfast Time is an alternative news show broadcast nationally on cable. Its hosts do all of their segments live, adding a quick, sometimes risky element to the broadcast. In Ely yesterday, the audio failed. On Spirit Mountain today, one of the skiers crashed, live on national TV. The national audience found out as soon as we did that the skier wasn't seriously hurt, just embarrassed.
So you get a nice flavor of what people are doing all around the country that they do every day. You probably don't think about, you know, yeah, snowmobiles and dog sleds, you know, yeah, we have that all the time.
I want to thank Spencer Garbett and the gang in Duluth, Minnesota on Spirit Mountain, where we've seen a whole lot of skiing and a little bit of tumbling going on today. Spencer?
Duluth will be shown to the country on FX Network for the next 2 mornings. Kim Steininger, Channel 6 News.
For years, the lifeblood of Duluth's economy came in the form of diamond tools and horseshoes. A team of over 200 employees cranked out nearly 600 horseshoes an hour.
So it was hot in the summer and it was cold in the winter, but it was still a camaraderie that you had between all the guys out there. It was work, but there was still a little play and a little fun in it.
That all changed in October of '94. When Cooper Industries took the business south and took jobs along with it. Hundreds of Duluth workers walked out of Diamond Tool and into the arms of family members. Since its closure, the old Diamond Tool building has stood vacant, serving as nothing more than a memory for former employees. The final chapter in Diamond Tool's history is coming to a close. Walls are coming down, and an era gone by is fading, but not forgotten.
And once the building is gone, why, you know, you don't have to drive by it every day and look at it. Well, I think, I guess then we know. Now it's done.
When you look at that, what do you think of when you look out there?
Well, one big family being destroyed.
As they captured the building's last few moments of existence on tape, they talked about change. It hasn't come easy for them, but one thing that has remained the same is a sense of loyalty, something Cooper Industries couldn't take away.
We've all still got high hopes that we'll get jobs come summer. I'm sure we all will. We're not worried yet, you know. We've all kind of just stuck together, I guess.
In West Duluth, Molly McMillan, Channel 6 News.
It's such an important historical item for the neighborhood, you might say, being that it's connected to Carlton, Minnesota, and the beginning of the Northern Pacific. But other than that, we have many other things in here which are equally significant and perhaps even a little bit more so in some cases.
It stimulates memory, good memory of maybe years past, things that made them happy, being with people, family.
If you've never thought of the grocery store as an art gallery, never glanced the works of art in the wiener section, well, look closer, because many products come with a picture. Many of those pictures come from Boisean Will Nelson. How many different kinds of fruit do you think you've drawn in your lifetime?
I think all of them. Everything from cranberry to orange to grapefruit, so on.
And so on, and so on, and so on. Like what these people call up and say, man, we need some really tasty looking strawberries.
Not all products are available year-round. And in fact, some products are difficult to find a perfect example.
Which is why companies like Kraft, Dole, and Del Monte don't photograph their fruit. They fax their ideas to Will. They provide the label. He provides the peaches.
So this is the original that I produce, and it is then married to this and becomes the final product.
He's drawn everything from potato chips to fruit juice to the fish on fishing products, things you never think about, like these. Those things in the restaurant.
Yeah, these have been around for almost 20 years.
For more than 40 years, Will's been painting things like zucchini sticks and fig bars.
In almost any aisle in the supermarket, I can find something.
So next time you're at the grocery store, look a little closer for the work of artist Will Nelson. Odds are you've already got a pretty good collection in your freezer.
There we go.
John Miller for NBC News.
If you're exhibiting any of the symptoms that you think is attributable to CO, call 911. We'll be there. But if you think you have a problem with your heating appliance, we would appreciate it if you'd call your repair people.
Okay, you mentioned that the symptoms kind of mimic the flu. Do people tend to ignore, there's really not much we can do for the flu and it's something that passes. Do people, because of that, tend to ignore the symptoms?
To simply say I'm sorry does not measure how deeply remorseful and ashamed I am of my past actions. Regardless of what this committee decides, I have already placed upon myself significant consequences. I will always carry with me the shame and guilt over my behavior.
The incredible speed, power, and strength of the Alaskan Husky, the knowledge of an experienced and rugged musher, and the beauty and crisp, frosty air of a Northland winter. It can all only mean one thing. It's time for the 13th annual John Beargrease Sled Dog Marathon. Organizers say they hope to bring in people who've never experienced the Beargrease.
Well, some of the new and exciting things we've got for this year will be the Bid for the Basket, which it's a promotion we've been doing where people have the opportunity to bid to actually ride on a sled from the race start up to the 6-mile mark. So it'll be a 6-mile exciting ride, an adventure of a lifetime.
That adventure of a lifetime has nationwide sled dog fans bidding up to $500 for a ride. Each racer will have someone in their basket as they take off. Other new family events this year include a flapjack feast, a festival, and sled dog rides given by champion mushers.
Sunday, people tend to follow the race for a day or two. This gives them other additional events to kind of take part in, see the Northland, see what Duluth is all about, and kind of enjoy our Northland winters.
Organizers say Beargrease 96 is different this year because of the many family events planned during the week. And one other important difference this year for racers is the trail conditions.
And this year, we won't see any mud or rocks or stumps. We will see a lot of snow. And it's going to be easier in that way because the trail will be softer and it'll be very fast, I feel.
The temperature will be another notable difference this year.
We are looking for some snow and some cold weather, and the dogs really like that too. They do not run as well when it's above zero. They would prefer below zero temperatures. That's how the dogs want it, so I'm sure that they're going to be very happy this year, and they're going to run like fire.
This year's Beargrease activities kick off Friday with a musher banquet. The actual race starts in Duluth on Sunday. On the Beargrease Trail, Ann Carroll, Channel 6 News.
The Twin Cities area was prepared for a major snowstorm last night, but what we got was an inch of rare January rain. That turned into an ice storm as the rain and sleet froze to roads and cars, causing dozens of accidents on Minnesota highways. Thousands of homes lost electricity as the heavy ice brought down trees and power lines. The extent of the damage became obvious as day broke. Northern States power crews were still scurrying to restore service to customers this afternoon. The temperature finally dropped to single digits as predicted originally, but the foot of snow we expected became just a couple of inches on top of all that ice. Harder hit was western Minnesota and the Fargo-Moorhead area, where blizzard conditions overnight and this morning shut down Interstate 94 and closed all schools and activities.
Is it the, so it's the socks you're wearing, because your feet can get cold.
Dependent on what you're wearing. If the extreme temperatures such as we're having today and you're not dressed properly, this is going to happen at a faster rate and a deeper injury is going to occur. So you have to be smart and just have a lot of good common sense.
The new year has started very successfully because of great tips from you. Our first two crimes of the week have been virtually solved. There are several strong suspects identified in the Curtis Peterson check forgery case, and over $15,000 worth of stolen property has been recovered. 3 Duluth juveniles have confessed to beating a pizza man in order to steal his money. Both cases are still under investigation, but the police believe they will be successfully concluded. Crime Stoppers is operated by Northland volunteers to help area police solve more crime. Success depends on anonymous tips from Northland citizens, but it also needs volunteers to run the Crime Stopper program and donate money to the reward fund. Contributions can be mailed to 411 West 1st Street in Duluth, 55802, or call if you have any questions. Our tips line numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723 enough.
And Sunday, the biggest motion picture of all time.
Lauren and Chelsea Cunningham are on a TV allowance. This is the gadget. Their parents decide how many hours of TV viewing are allowed per week. Lauren and Chelsea get 6 hours, reduced recently from 8. Each child has a code. To turn the TV on, she punches in her code. The TV allowance keeps track of how long she watches, and when she's used up her 6 hours, the TV won't turn on. You need a key to control it, a key only the parents have.
It's hard in the beginning because you're trying to get used to it. But when you first get in, they do 8 hours, you're like, oh my gosh, that's such a little time, and then you kind of get used to it.
It makes it easier for us where we're not having to constantly nag them, but it also helps teach them how to budget their time and be more selective on what they're going to watch and cooperate, share their time.
The Cunninghams were worried about the amount of time their kids spent watching TV. Vandella Williams is worried about what they see, especially music videos.
Some of them I feel should be rated. I think they're, too sexual, too promiscuous.
And 12-year-old Elizabeth Peterson sometimes finds when it comes to music, she and her mother are looking for different things.
On the CD that I want to get, if there's a parental guidance little label on it, then she won't let me get it.
So here are some tips to help you exercise parental guidance. When it comes to getting control of the TV, make conscious choices.
You can think about what is age appropriate for your child. What shows work for your age group?
Don't make it so easy to watch.
Take the television out of the most comfortable room in the house. Put it someplace that's not particularly attractive.
Watch with your kids. Talk about what you see. Tell them what you like and don't like, and why. Ask their opinion. Read up on children's programming. KidsNet publishes a programming guide and is accessible on the internet as well. In Washington, Susan Kidd for NBC News.
Lowest level in the past 4 decades. For years, naysayers have claimed that in 1972 and 1973, the industry inflation went up by an average.
Studies basically is what.
With low wages, students are forced to work more hours per week and then spend the number of 15 hours per week in classes, leaving them 0 time to study if you were working a 40-hour week.
We just figured the winter's been, as it is, cold like this, below 0 all the time, and we wanted to blow off winter and blow off with a snowblower, and it all kind of fit together from there, and we just started working with the blow off winter idea, and this is what we came up with, and he's enjoying himself.
Sometimes watching your spouse's every move is obsessive, but sometimes your intuition is right, and there is a reason to keep an eye on him or her. Now it's becoming easier than ever before.
You used to have to hire your own private investigators to solve all of your spouse investigations and whatnot. Now, basically, with the equipment that we supply, you could do all of the investigating on your own.
Adam Burke is the sales manager at the Counter Spy Shop in Beverly Hills, where undercover cameras are the biggest seller.
Different types of cameras that we have built into stuffed animals, AM, FM clock radios, smoke detectors, sprinkler systems, basically anything from a notebook pad to a tie to a pair of sunglasses. You can actually videotape and see everything that's going on.
It looks like an ordinary clock radio, and it works like one as well, but with one added feature, a hidden camera. And here, in the bow tie of the stuffed animal, another camera. Cameras that are even smaller and more sophisticated than ever. And even if you're not a mechanical whiz, you can run these.
It's very high-tech James Bond stuff internally, but externally, everything about it is very user-friendly.
If you can plug something into the wall, you can use this equipment. But if these don't suit your needs,
We could build something to suit our clients' needs, something that might fit into your environment.
which can mean building the cameras and the recorders into something you already own, something that's already in your home. But one important thing to keep in mind, these cameras don't record sound. That's because in California, it's illegal to tape someone's conversations without them knowing. Videotaping them, however, is legit. So everywhere you look, watch out, because your spouse may be watching you.
Well, we just like people to be aware of the fact that, you know, this isn't a normal situation out here. We get a lot of people that come from out of town and they hear about the great fishing on Lake Superior and they don't understand what they need to be looking for. And there's other people that just take it as, it's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal if we have to put people's lives at risk to go out there and bring them off, whether they perceive they're in danger or not.
The highest steel beam used in the new Northwest Airlines maintenance base facility is now in place, topped off with a ceremonial tree. The tree on that highest beam is said to bring good luck to the remaining construction process. The celebration comes after years of questions to whether this facility would become a reality.
This deal, this celebration, this construction would not be here today if it weren't really for the commitment from beginning to end. And believe me, there were some very, very dark moments.
The construction of this $45 million maintenance facility is moving right along schedule for completion this September. Now, this maintenance-based facility, as well as the reservation center in Chisholm, mean economic growth for the Northland.
The people here were hardworking and we're committed to this project, and we're very instrumental in making it happen. So it's just a natural that when we decide to build our maintenance base and our new res facility, that they are both in northern Minnesota, this one in Duluth, and of course our res center is set to be open end of March, and that's in Chisholm. So we're real excited. I mean, these are our top two facilities in our system.
Those two facilities will together employ close to 1,000 people by the year 2000. The first 150 workers at Duluth Maintenance Facility will be hired from within the Northwest Airline organization. But those jobs average $54,000, and that's added money to our local economy.
Today's an excellent day for Minnesota, and northern Minnesotans especially should take great pride in this and pat themselves on the back.
In Duluth, Ann Carroll, Channel 6 News.
Support of Al Shecky and Gary Wilson. This is a day for the future.
Nearly everyone concerned about stopping the spread of AIDS agrees the key to winning the battle is on the education front. The conflict is over what form that education should take.
The one my dad has is called what? HIV! It never goes away.
The front line is here in the public schools. AIDS educators like Earl Alexander Jr. say reaching young people quickly is the key due to the toll the disease will soon take.
And this disease has, I never would believe, hit 12, 13, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. It is. It is because of sexual abuse, alcoholism, drugs.
The issue of AIDS education in the public schools is one of the hottest political footballs there is. On the one side, professional educators who say the public schools are the ideal forum. On the other side, certain parents groups who say the issue is best left at home. It's an issue the legislature will eventually have to decide. The Minnesota AIDS Project is lobbying for what's called the Students' Bill of Rights, introduced Monday in the Minnesota House. Among other things, it calls for removal of what activists see as barriers to AIDS education. Still, AIDS Project officials say HIV education is more than just talking about sex.
We do not go into a room, toss out condoms, and say, hey kids, have a good time. So we want to talk about both the choice of abstinence and how to protect themselves if they're later going to be sexually active.
Currently, the St. Louis County Health Department isn't able to provide that type of comprehensive education.
We'll go out for a specific talk at a school, but unfortunately, no, we don't have a resource to go to, each class in each school to do that.
However, some parents think that's fine. They believe that type of education is their job, not the schools. Educators like Yeager and Alexander say parents need to understand that AIDS is spread in other ways, and their kids need to get that message.
When I do a talk, for instance, in a class, I'll ask the students, what about something like smoking marijuana or drinking alcohol? Can that transmit HIV? And they all know, no, that can't transmit it. Then I ask them, can that increase your risk of getting HIV? And they think a minute and they go, oh yeah.
It's frank talk, but the stakes are high. If there's one message educators want young people to receive, it's this.
Be careful with the addictions. They will kill you.
In Duluth, Jeff Pappas, Channel 6 News.
Hello there. I can see how you sit. I can see how your body language works. Because I'm the alcoholic. You can't pull a drunk that's recovered. Right?
I was welding on a car, and evidently some undercoating caught on fire in the car, or plastic, whatever, and it engulfed the car. And the time I got down off the hoist, the whole car was engulfed in flames, and I couldn't get it drug out in time.
You could see the flames and the black smoke already when we arrived, and we got water on it initially within 2-3 minutes, and we started knocking it back. And we saved the office building up front. The rest of it is total loss.
Lost my whole job. The only thing we saved out of it is the car files for used cars.
Did the
We have a lot of fun activities ranging from the Children's Museum where they can make hats or learn to write their name in Japanese or make kites, to opportunities seeing what goes on in Minnesota Ballet so that they learn what goes on in a ballet lesson, to hearing about our Duluth Superior Symphony Orchestra, to listening to our chorale, to going down and playing on the trains.
The Minnesota State Patrol is investigating a fatal accident in Duluth that happened at 1:45 in the morning on Sunday, February 4th. Two people were headed south on Interstate 35 in a Jeep Cherokee and took the exit to Superior, Wisconsin. Midway through the turn, the Jeep went over the guardrail and fell to the ground. Witnesses at the scene spoke with two men who said they were following the Jeep and saw the whole thing. When the State Patrol arrived, the two men were gone. Patrol officers would like very much to talk to those two men and find out what they saw. If you are one of the two men or know who they are, Crime Stoppers encourages you to call us or the State Patrol. We also want you to call Crime Stoppers with information you have on any crime. You could receive a reward up to $1,000 in cash. Our numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH. That's 723-3683.
Confirmed that she would be coming Friday.
Okay, and how long is she going to make the stop?
Well, what they're telling us now is that on Friday, sometime between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., she will be in the Hermantown School District for about an hour. She wants to talk with kids and staff members, and in our case,
On Sunday morning, February 11th, a Duluth drugstore in Lakeside was broken into. The burglars tried to pry open the back door, but finally kicked it open. They went directly to the pharmaceuticals and stole over $5,000 worth of painkillers, which may give a euphoric high to whoever takes them. They also stole over 10 cartons of cigarettes. The police have noticed similarities in this burglary compared to other Northland burglaries. Call Crime Stoppers if you know who the burglars are. These drugs may be sold in the Duluth area. We want parents to know this and be aware of any strange pills their teenagers may have. Remember, Crime Stoppers pays rewards up to $1,000 in cash for information on any crime and keeps the caller anonymous. Our numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH. That's 723-3683.
Kirk would like to tell everyone that his faith is stronger than ever because he does know that his family is in heaven. He would again tell parents to spend time with their children. As Mark Twain said, and Mark Twain is one of his favorite authors, money is only dirty paper, but the love that is spent with your children is love given and received.
Need them just as much. You can take it even. Look around you, see what a lot of people.
We realize they really are the other half of ourselves, and there are lots of like people who are.
Opportunity to have their children grow up here, and the opportunity to know that people care. To say, as the sign so well indicates out in front of the ceremony, is emblematic of how much we love Nancy, the children.
You are the gift, the fullest sense, something that we can carry. So God, help both in human terms. They live forever.
She came to us when she was a sophomore. Nancy was a wonderful person.
The opportunity to teach in this community, the opportunity to have their children grow up here, and the opportunity to know that people care is very special in their heart. There's not many of us who haven't picked up a paper over the years and said, oh my God, how could anything so tragic happen to any family? To all of us, we'd like to be able to say, as the sign so well indicates out in front, and especially to you at the ceremony, is emblematic of how much we love Nancy, the children, and you wonderful people.
We thank you for the gift of the folding children and their mother Nancy was in this world. We thank you for the time they spent with us. We thank you for the love, some sense, something that we can carry ourselves. First, to continue a memory that is sacred. Secondly, for an understanding ourselves. So God, help us to see your good and gracious purpose working in everything in life. And that our question is, not God, where are you? God, unfathomable in human terms. Only God can give the comfort and strength to this family. Be generous with your grace. They live forever in your presence. And we are assured by that same faith that one day we will all
In 1995, 3,100 Minnesotans were diagnosed with breast cancer. In 1995 also, 800 deaths were attributed to breast cancer in Minnesota.
This is the end result of a long night for Rochester police. After abducting a woman at gunpoint and committing 3 strong-armed robberies, this man led police on a high-speed chase throughout southwest Rochester.
Officers spotted the suspect vehicle, the stolen vehicle in the Memorial Parkway area. Attempted to stop the vehicle fled. High-speed pursuit resulted. They chased around southwest Rochester residential areas. The chase ended in Kutsky Park. The vehicle went into the creek, Cascade Creek.
After a high-speed chase with police, the suspect jumped out of the car while it was still moving, with the victim still in the trunk of the car. That woman was taken to the hospital. She is the only victim who was abducted, but police are interviewing 4 other victims who were assaulted by the suspect.
We are still interviewing the victims. A couple of them are in the local hospitals, and we haven't got condition reports back on them yet. I do not believe that there are serious injuries.
The suspect remains in custody in the Olmsted County Jail.
That the public want answers right now. He seems like he can do a better job than right now than what we have going. Okay. Not saying Clinton's doing a bad job, but somebody can always do a little better.
I'm not real thrilled with any of the candidates, to be perfectly truthful. Okay. I'll just have to vote for the man that I think would do the best job.
Doing it right now, good beat.